Hi, my name is Sacrosanct from Causenation and welcome to the fourth update on the pre-production process of the new Causenation album. In my last video I took you through the process of how I use the Roland Mc300 to record a simple bass line in real time, and today we're going to use this recording and chain it up in what Roland calls a song. First of all, we need to load the recorded info back into the memory of the Mc300, and to do this we need to go into Mode and then select the second option called Disk. Once there, you have four other options where we will select the first, namely Load. Then it says Load Song from Disk, and from the moment you press the Enter button, it starts looking for a song on the floppy disk and asks you if you want to load this song. If you press Enter again, it asks you to press the Load button, and then the loading process will start. Once that is done, press the Mode button again and select the first option, which is the MIDI recorder option. Now your pre-recorded sequence or song is loaded in the memory of the Mc300, and when you hit the play button, the sequence will start. And as you can hear, it is working, which means my recorded bassline was still there on the floppy disk. This is super handy to save your progression and keep it for a later time if you want to add more melodies. Now here is the tricky part. How are we going to make sure that the recorded MIDI information is being played on the right time, the correct measure, and how are we going to have the Roland play in sync with Cubase? Now, in order to do this, we need to set up a few things in Cubase. So when I open the Cubase project for this song, you will notice straight away that there already is some MIDI data present in Cubase, but that is just a way for me to have an overall view on how the song is being built and how the composition is looking. It's also a tool for me to have an instant view on how long my intro is, where the first verse is located, and the refrain, and so on. You also will notice that the MIDI tracks are muted, because these tracks, being for the Kurzweil K2000 and the Moog Minitor, are being sequenced by my other sequencer, namely the Roland MC80, and I promise I will do a video about that piece of equipment very soon. Now, we need to make sure that the Mc300 can follow the same time signature in Cubase. In order to do this, we need the manual of the Mc300, because in the manual we can have a look at the time signature table, and that table tells us which code we need to use to set the correct measure or signature on the Mc300. So it's becoming a bit difficult, so try to keep up with me. Okay, let's have a look at the manual. The first four bars in Cubase have a time signature of 5 quarters. In order to have the Mc300 playing the correct measures and to follow Cubase as it progresses through the whole song, we need to set up a rhythm track on the Mc300. This track is allowing us to determine upfront on how long our song needs to be, and on which moment the time signature needs to be changed, so the MC300 will automatically go from one signature to another. The rhythm track on the MC300 can be seen as a tape of a tape recorder and how long your tape is. When you are out of tape, you cannot record any further. Therefore, you need to make sure you have enough tape, or as with the MC300, you need to make sure your rhythm track is long enough to record MIDI data or to chain up different sequences. So in the manual we have a table with individual resting values and the corresponding rhythm pattern number. It is this number we need to punch in on the MC300 to have it play in the correct signature, and as I said before, the first 4 bars in Cubase are set on 5 quarters. And the correct code for that is number 110. So I need to punch in that code on the MC300 for 4 bars or measures. So let's have a look at our MC300 again. If I want to determine how long the tape of my recorder needs to be, I need to program a rhythm track, and to do this I need to use the arrow buttons to navigate to the correct place on the screen and then use the jog wheel to change it from reel to rhythm track. If I then hit the recording button, I then can punch in the correct code for the signature I want to use. So for the first 4 bars or measures, I will use code 110. And every time I need to press enter for as much bars as I need. If you take a look at the tempo track in Cubase, you can see that the first 4 bars are indeed set to 5 quarters, and from there on the signature changes to 4 quarters. I could change it to 32 quarters, but to keep things simple I will just leave it like it is, and this way it's more easy to program the rhythm track on the MC300 and have it keep up with the bars in Cubase. Now, if I want to chain up the recorded MIDI data or individual sequence so the MC300 will play it for as long as I need it to, I need to copy and paste the sequence on another track of the MC300. To do this, we need to go into edit mode of the MC300 and choose option number 10, which is the copy option. In this menu, it will ask you from which track you want to copy a sequence and on what track and which measure and for how long you want to paste it. In this case, we want to copy the sequence that has been recorded on track 1. Remember, this is an 8-bar sequence, and this is important because when you do not punch in the correct amount of bars, the copy procedure will not work and your final song will not sound the way you want it to. So first of all, we're going to select track 1 and press enter. Then we have to select the same MIDI channel of the cork, which in this case is channel 12. Here we need to input the correct amount of bars, which is 8. And here we can determine how many times we want the sequence to be laid out on our desired track. For the usage of this video, we will copy it 2 times. We are going to select track number 3 as a destination and press the enter button. This is important as it asks us on what measure or bar it has to lay out the sequence, and remember that our sequence needs to start on bar number 5, so we are going to punch in number 5 and hit the Enter button. If we then press the record button, the MC300 will paste our sequence onto track 3 and on bar number 5. Hitting the stop button will take us back to the beginning, and now we can start Cubase, so the MC300 will play along with it. Before I'm going to play the sequence on the MC300 and see if it can keep up with the bars in Cubase, I first need to set it up as a slave in Cubase. To do this, I will open up the transport menu and select the project synchronization setup. This will take us to another window where we can do a bunch of things. If I then hit the Destinations tab, I can select which MIDI connection the clock destination needs to be routed to. In this case, I connected the MC300's MIDI input cable to the third output of my MIDI interface, so I need to make sure that this box is selected. I'm going to do the same thing with the MIDI timecode destination, and I also will tick this box under the timecode preferences. Once that is done, I simply click the OK button, and now the MC300 is set as a slave to Cubase, meaning that from the moment I hit the start button in Cubase, the MC300 will start as well. So everything is recorded on the MC300, the cork is connected to it, and the Roland is also set as a slave to Cubase. Only thing we need to do now is hit the start button in Cubase and see if everything runs at the same time and on the same bars.
A shadow shall fall over the universe, and evil will grow in its path, and death will come from the skies.
So this concludes the fourth update on the pre-production process for the new Causenation album. I explained a lot about the MC300 and how I use it as a hardware sequencer to trigger my cork MIDI log and how I have it set up in Cubase. I hope you like this video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to this channel, because there are a lot of videos coming up in the future. Thanks for watching, and in the meantime, keep on grinding, keep making music, and do what you love to do. My name is Sacrosanct, and see you next time. Cheers.